Canadian football features a lot of punting, and it's important for the officials in a seven-man crew to understand their duties and responsibilities while covering punts. Prior to the snap, the referee shall determine the number of players that Team A has in the line of scrimmage. He will also observe the offensive lineup to establish whether or not Team A is using eligibly numbered players at interior line positions. Have they reported? At the instant the ball is kicked, be even with the kicker and approximately 5 yards outside the position occupied by the kicker. At the snap, assume a position favoring the wide side of the field and ensure the ball is put legally into play. Be in position to retain a clear view of the ball. Check for players of the kicking team who are onside relative to the kicker when the ball is kicked. Be alert for block kicks. Be prepared to determine the flight of the ball if it appears directed toward the sidelines. Once cleared of kicker responsibilities, move slowly downfield and afford coverage of blocking tactics in the center zone of coverage. Should the play develop into a long run, be prepared to pick up the ball and rule on forward progress. The umpire shall assume a position slightly either side of the center, 8 to 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Do not retreat from this position until members of the kicking team have passed. Prior to the snap, check the numbering of the offensive interior linemen. Are they using eligibly numbered players in these positions? If so, have they reported? Ensure that the ball is put legally into play. Be alert for short or deflected kicks, as you may be required to cover no yards in these situations. You are responsible for the tactics of both receiving and kicking team, with special attention for holding between the tackles. Do not back out of your position until the majority of the kicking team players have passed, then turn and cover blocking tactics in your zone of coverage, which is the middle third of the field, in front of the ball carrier. Should the returner break through, be prepared to pick up the ball and the ball carrier. Sideline officials shall stay outside, very wide, being sure not to pinch in. Ensure that the ball is legally put into play. In conjunction with the referee and umpire, ensure that Team A has 7 men on the line of scrimmage by ensuring that you have an eligible receiver on your end of the line. Both sideline officials will remain on the line of scrimmage until the ball crosses. On an obvious short punt, the line judge will hold the line of scrimmage to assist the referee with the coverage of the kicker and any other onside players until they cross the line. However, if the ball is kicked to his area, the head linesman will hold the line of scrimmage and assume responsibilities for the kicker and onside players. The line of scrimmage are responsible for the initial blocking tactics against the third and fourth members of the kicking team from the outside in. Be alert for holding and illegal blocks within your zone of coverage from the sideline to the hash mark, and be especially alert for possible illegal blocks in the second wave of tacklers. The sideline officials must be alert for block kicks and the recovery of the ball, and the man face-to-face with the referee may retreat into the backfield to bracket the play should this happen. Following the kick, proceed downfield, retain outside control, and do not drift into the field of play. Be alert to offer coverage on the ball and the ball carrier should the return outstrip the coverage of the downfield officials. Should the kick proceed into the end zone, be prepared to cover down to the goal line and provide coverage on the ball at the goal line as it is advanced. The side judge and back judge count the players on the receiving team. Assume a position on your sideline approximately 20 to 25 yards from the line of scrimmage. Maintain this cushion as players move downfield under the punt. You may line up deeper given wind conditions. You are responsible for the initial blocking tactics against the first and second members of the kicking team from the outside in as they proceed downfield, and are generally responsible for blocking tactics in a zone of coverage from your sideline to the area just in front of the ball carrier. Be especially alert for possible illegal blocks in the first wave of tacklers. On punts toward your sideline, you may have to assume responsibility for covering no yards. Be prepared to provide goal line coverage in the event that the ball is punted or carried into goal. Field judge. Assume an initial position 5 to 6 yards deeper than the punt returner and in the middle of the field. Count the players on the receiving team. As soon as the ball is kicked, move aggressively to a position that will allow you to rule on no yards and possession. The punt return is yours until intervening players or the direction of the return cause you to lose sight of the ball. On punts toward the sideline, that would be hash marks to sideline, you may have to take the blocking if you lose view of the ball during the play. Here are some punt plays with positioning examples and slight variations as needed. On this punt, you'll notice that the field judge makes a variance in his coverage downfield by lining up to the narrow side of the field. Wind conditions may have been a factor to this decision. You can see he has finished his count of 12 and then moves to his right, which is the narrow side of the field, to take into account wind conditions and kicking patterns of the punter. As well, notice the movement of the umpire has turned and come upfield, covering the middle third of the field for potential blocking violations. To assist the referee and umpire, the sideline officials might count the players in the backfield to ensure there are 7 men on the line. If there are 6 men in the backfield, we have a problem. On this punt, the ball comes to ground on or about the hash mark. Note the positioning of the field judge and the deep sideline official. Well bracketed, good coverage. Same coverage from the end zone. Note the position of the referee, comfortably to the wide side of the field with a view of the line of scrimmage. As the play evolves, he's in a good position to observe the kicker. Note the movement of the field judge as the ball is punted. On this punt, the ball is kicked to the short side of the field, lands on the ground, strikes a member of the kicking team. Note the modified positioning of the deep sideline official. No yards, good call. Here we see the same play from the end zone. Looks as though the umpire and center are conferring. Again, umpires, remember to protect the center. You'll see the ball kicked over to the left with appropriate judgment by the deep sideline official. In this case, blocking would be picked up by the field judge. On this punt, the kicker is going to take a safety. He hasn't informed the referee. The referee ought to be closer to the dead ball line and out of the way of all players. Same play. Note the hustle of the head linesman as he gets to the goal line to assist with ruling dead ball progress at the goal line. Here we have a sample of a play where a ball is kicked directly out of bounds in flight. The importance of the referee's alignment is critical here, as well as the reaction of the deep sideline official to take his direction from the referee. In this play, each official executes his duties properly. Here we have a ball which is punted toward the sideline at the bottom of the screen. The back judge will take possession and rule on no yards. This assumes then that the field judge will switch his responsibilities to examine blocking. Again, note the positioning of the referee and the direction and adjustment of positioning by the deep officials. On this punt, the ball lands at the top of the screen near the sideline. The side judge adjusts his positioning to take into account ruling out of bounds and then lines up on the goal line to rule on ball in or out of goal. The field judge has to cover both the goal line and potentially the dead ball line. He's in a tough position on this play. On this play, the field judge might have chosen to be a little bit deeper into the goal area to rule on no yards in possession, but also respecting the need to cover the dead ball line. This ends the session on punt coverage. If you have any questions or suggestions for improvement, please contact Dave Hutton at dhutton@cfl.ca.